Hello, chess family. It's me, National Master Jesse James, and today we're going to be taking a look at San Antonio Junior City Championship, Yak versus Rohit or Venkata. Oh my gosh, I'm very happy that we have two very strong players here in San Antonio, and a rivalry is being born here. Let's see how it goes. Both of these guys are going at it, and well, they chose one of the most aggressive openings. Here, Yak's playing with the white pieces, Rohit's playing with the black pieces. E4, C5, knight of 3, D6, D4, C takes, knight of 6, knight C3, A6. We got the Najdorf here, one of the most aggressive openings. Rohit is a very, very sharp player, and so is Yak. Let's see which line they actually choose here. Here, Yak actually chooses pawn to H3, the old Fischer line over here. E6, G4, he's going at him. Bishop E7, pawn G5. This is a really cool line that Fischer used to play. It's very similar to the Carries attack, which is a refutation of the Scheveningen. And after G5 here, well, White's just saying, I'm going to push all my pawns down your throat, and then I'm going to castle queenside. Knight F goes to D7, pawn to H4, here comes that pawn storm. Knight C6, bishop B3, castles, queen to D2, and knight D to E5. Here already there's some tactical tricks here you have to be careful of. For instance, if you're not paying attention, let's just say you play something like A3. Uh-oh, game over. Black to move and win. Do you see it? I love these tricky knights. Knight takes D4. It doesn't matter if queen takes or knight takes. Knight of 3 check is coming, and yep, you're going to be losing the game here pretty fast. Very, very common in the Najdorf just because, well, it's a very aggressive opening. Yak just goes ahead and plays simple chess here. Bishop to E2 here. Maybe castling queenside was going to be a little bit better here. Although I am curious, after knight takes D4, oh, queen takes D4 here, keeping pressure on the D6 pawn. Knight of 3 here really doesn't do anything. Queen just goes back to D3. And I doubt Rohit's going to keep playing knight back here to try and play for a draw. At this point, they are in the 4th round of the San Antonio Junior Championship. Whoever wins this one will be getting a full 5 points. Mind you, Yak is still in middle school and Rohit is in high school. So they weren't really playing for the trophy at this point. They're most likely going to win their own trophies. They were playing for the prestige. They were playing for that next level of trying to beat your opponent, which I'm very, very happy. Two young proteges that I've actually got to work with, and I'm so happy that they found a good rivalry with each other. All right, back to the game. After this, Yak goes in and just plays bishop e2. Pawn to b5 here. Of course, this is a very good move. Pushing forward over here and pawn to b4. This is very common in the Najdorf. Like in most Sicilians, we're going to be attacking on the queen side. Here, a3. Not a move I really liked when I was younger, but now I understand it. This a3 move is very good about stopping this pawn to b4 move. Bishop to d7. Pawn to f4. Knight takes d4. Bishop takes d4. And knight back to c6. Of course, you don't want to lose this dark square bishop, so bishop to e3 got played. And queen c7, and, well, let's do it. I would have played pawn to h5 here and kept pushing forward. Here, Yak plays a very interesting move here, rook to f1. I can't say I like this move too much. These are game 30, so the games do go by pretty fast here. With this one move, yeah, Yak's losing a big part of his game. Again, I'm not too sure why he would do this. Castling queenside is always an idea here. Pawn h5, definitely playing pawn to g6 is definitely what you want to do here. Rook f1 got played. Pawn b4. Don't give Rohit a chance. He will go ahead and take advantage of it. A takes b4. Knight takes b4. And now you're seeing a lot of queenside counterplay. Castling queenside maybe is not going to be the best idea. It's up to Yak now to try and push forward. And Yak does a good move here. He plays pawn to f5. And for most people here, I think, if you're playing black, you're getting a little hesitant here. Unfortunately for Yak, he's playing Rohit, and Rohit is very aggressive. And he plays a move I like, pawn to d5. Now, I won't say this is giving black the advantage, but I will say it is a fighting game here. And, well, it's kind of hard to not play this pawn move to f6, but Rohit is underway, and he knows what he's going to do. Bishop to c5. Of course, we're not going to be taking here and opening up the g-file, and, of course, black is just losing here, as there's going to be many ways to get a checkmate here for white, if not just win material. So, of course, he goes ahead and moves the bishop to c5. This is a very strong move here, threatening ideas like pawn to d4. Again, if you're not paying attention, in the game, actually, this kind of does happen here. Yak, unfortunately, castles queenside, and this is just going to be a very bad attack for him. The king's just going to be very, very weak over there. Let's just say he took on g7. Of course, black would just play bishop takes on e3, And, well, you can see you can't take on e3 as knight takes c2 check, and, well, that's a royal fork and the game is over. And the same thing is happening with d4 here, too. Even if you did try to defend with something like, I don't know, let's see here, rook to f3. Here again, d4 is just going to be winning the game. Bishop takes, and if queen takes, knight takes on c2. Oof. A very, very tough game here for Yak. And, yeah, it's really hard to say that, you're not supposed to castle here. Your computer's just giving bishop takes, queen takes, and then you could take on g7, maybe even take on d5 here. But Yak castles right into it, and, well, -3 advantage here. Let's see how Rohit goes to work. Queen to a5 got played. This makes a lot of sense. You can see now queen a1 check is being threatened with some checkmate ideas. And, of course, we still have the bishop takes e3, so you got to be very careful. Yak plays king b1, the best move. That being said, it is still a very bad position. And rook f to c8 gets played. Another inaccuracy, but I mean, in a game 30, these guys are definitely going at it. I will say that Yak had a lot more time on the clock. With that being said, I'd rather have less time on the clock and a better position than a lot of time on the clock and a losing or a bad position here. And, well, rook f c8, it looks like everything's going good over here. Black's attack is definitely going a lot stronger. Unfortunately, these pawns are just not going to do anything. Anytime you take on g7, the rook just slides over, and we got the umbrella pawn over here. And, yeah, Rohit did a very good job on that. Bishop f4, losing the advantage again. What do you play here? Push forward, pawn to d4. I'm not too sure why Yak would play the bishop to f4. I would think to make trades here makes the most sense. So bishop takes c5, maybe rook takes c5, and pawn takes. Yeah, I guess you have to be careful now. Rook takes c3 is also an idea here. I think you are surviving here. Computer gives f takes g7 here. I'm not too sure what the idea is. I guess after rook takes, queen takes, this queen a2 check, although it looks scary, is not winning just yet. So queen a2 check, king c1, and, well, you can't play rook c8 because the knight's hanging here. So computer goes ahead and just gives queen a4 here. And this is giving enough time for Yak to go ahead and just play something as simple as queen to b3. Oof. Ugh, the game is pretty crazy here. Anyways, in the game, pawn to d4 got played, and I don't know how Yak got out of this. He is definitely a magician when it comes to this. I looked at the game. I just thought this was completely lost, and he finds the only move here to survive. Bishop c4. Pawn takes. You cannot go grabbing this bishop over here as, c takes on b2, and queen a1 checks being threatened, so you got to play king takes b2 here. And, yeah, this king is just too vulnerable at this point. So Yak went ahead and played b takes c3 here. Again, I mean, this just looks terribly lost. The computer's giving this -8.4, just saying you're basically up a queen here. I'm really surprised that Rohit was not able to checkmate or win heavy material here. Here the game continuing with bishop a4, pawn takes on b4, bishop takes on b4, and queen to d3. Bishop c3, threatening a really deadly check over here. And Yak plays again another practical move, bishop d2, and queen b4 check, and this was not the best move. Here you're supposed to bring your rook in, rook a b8 check, and yeah, there's really no good move here. The idea that I think he must have missed is that once the king goes to like a2, then the bishop can take on c2, or even bishop to b3 for checkmate. And of course at bishop b3, you're just going to go ahead and take on b3 again. Bishop takes c3 doesn't do anything. Bishop takes c2 check, bishop c4 check. A lot of different moves here. Yak was hoping for some kind of back rank checkmates, but this is not going to be working right now. Oof. Anyways, in the game, queen b4 check was played, which was a mistake. Bishop to b3. I mean, this looks lost to me also, but here Yak found the nice idea. Again, this back rank checkmate idea. So after bishop takes b3, bishop takes on c3, and we're down to a -1 advantage. Don't ask me how. Yak was able to wiggle out of this, very forcefully looking lost position. Rook takes c3, and he found queen d8 check. Rook takes, queen has to come back. Rook takes, and king takes, and pawn takes. Rook takes b3 check, and king c2. It is now 1, 2, 3, 4 pawns versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. With that being said, it's a -0.2 advantage. Not giving too much here. And unfortunately for us, the DGTs that we're recording did not get the rest of the end game. It was a very nice rook and pawn end game, which was very back and forth. And I believe there's one extra pawn, and Rohit was actually able to queen that. I think there was a chance for a draw. I had to ask Rohit about it. I know they were analyzing it after the game. Well, guys, hope you enjoyed this very crazy Najdorf between San Antonio's two strongest Scholastic players. Rohit won this year for the high school, winning a 5-0, not losing any games. And, well, we'll see if Yak can try to fight up against him. We'll see you in the next video, guys. Bye.